What is happening, everybody? Welcome to the Respectfully Selfish podcast. I am your host, Ben J. Myers, and I am super excited to be here today because I'm super excited to talk about the topic I thought of this morning. It made me come in here and it made me set up all these lights and do all this setup just to record this. First off, I want to check in with you. How you guys doing? We've talked about, what's our new normal after the pandemic. We've talked about the idea of time. We've talked about detaching ourselves for time, but this one, I want to detach ourselves a little bit more. How about when we get overwhelmed, we take a step back and we view all the things that are overwhelming us, almost as if they're outside of our body, and we get to pick which thing we want to take care of first. So the way I'm looking at it is I take a step back and I look at it and I think, okay, there's this glass wall. And I can see all the things that need to get done behind that glass wall. Well, that can be overwhelming sometimes, but what if you blur everything out and you only see the one thing that can be taken care of right now? I did that this morning, and it felt so good. I was having really, really bad anxiety this morning. I was thinking, oh my gosh, my schedule was changing. I was trying to detach myself from the time and the structure of, I was supposed to be doing something this morning. I want to be able to adapt. So I looked at things and I was like, okay, all of these things over the next few weeks have to get done. Why are they all hitting me right now? What can I take care of right now? So I looked at it and I picked it out and I said, this is it. This is the thing I'm taking care of now until the next thing. And weirdly enough, it kind of gave me this vision of, okay, now I can coach myself through that. I just need to get myself through this kind of problem, this kind of riddle. Everything's just a riddle. So I did. And all of a sudden that started some positive momentum, and it brought me here. It brought me as like, okay, the next thing I'm going to do is record a podcast for them respectfully selfish folks. And we're going to help some people out today. So guys, that's why I want to welcome you in here. I want to know what your new normal is. I want to know, how have you been doing with detaching yourself from the idea and the obligation of time? And now I want to know, how are we going to start bettering ourselves by separating ourselves from all those anxieties that run our lives on a daily basis? How are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? Well, the answer is simple. You got to be respectfully selfish. You got to know those lines of, this isn't in my best interest. You have to know those lines of, maybe I've reached my breaking point today. You have to know those lines of, these people aren't the right people for me anymore. It's all a part of it. We talk about that funneling system where you have to funnel the group of people that have an influence on you. And that's just not in the physical sense. That's in social media. That's on the internet. That's on through text messages, dating sites. We live in a wild, wild world of things that are so separate from us, but we hold them so close. Something a stranger says to us can almost derail our entire week, day, year, our lives. Somebody who just in a passing glance decided to say, I don't like those shoes. Or somebody that commented on one of your pictures because they had too much to drink one night. We're letting these things run our lives. And this idea that I'm trying to better myself each week, almost concentrate on something to work on each week, because I know while I might not become a master of it overnight, I'm consciously trying to better myself and move forward. So this idea of detaching from time, that's been a huge help. Well, that's led me to this. Well, how about if I'm detaching from time, why don't I detach myself from all of those anxieties and those stresses that are realistically on the surface? I don't want my brain to be ran by these things. I want my brain and my mind to be my tool, not my enemy. I started reading The Power of Now again, and the beginning chapters are just something that bury it into me that we are this thing of being. We're not outside of the physical sense of our name and our body. We're just one with everything that is going on. Everything is in constant motion, and we're just part of that. And that idea gives you the ability to separate yourself from yourself, almost look at yourself from an outside perspective. And when you can do that, you kind of see all of the things going on around you. You're able to kind of take a glance around and be like, ooh, I don't need that right now. Maybe I want to get this done right now. Well, when you start to pick and choose, all those other smaller things almost kind of get thrown to the wayside, and you're able to pick out the 1, 2, maybe 3 things that are the pressing issues in your life right now, and you can work on them one at a time. Take it off the shelf, come in, look at it, game plan for it. Don't just react to it. Understand who you are, what you're bringing to the table, and how you are going to attack this. Not how somebody else on the internet attacked it. Not how I attack it. What is the best for you? What is your tactic to get into these nitty-gritty problems in your life that are specific to you? We can't keep looking for strangers to solve our problems. We can look for strangers for a little bit of guidance and direction when we don't know where to start. But to think that you're going to be able to follow 1 to 1A, 2, step 3, step 4, and you're going to get to the same result they did, you're not living the same life. So guys, remember, when you're taking these things out of that imaginary glass cabinet, we'll call it, and you're deciding to work on it, remember, you're working on it through your strengths, through your weaknesses, not somebody else's. So that's something to keep in mind as we're picking these things. We're identifying our new normal. We're detaching ourselves from the things that are pressing issues. Time. That's something we can't control, but yet we try so desperately to do it. Let's detach ourselves from that. And now, let's detach ourselves from the superficial anxieties and things that are real life problems, but let's detach ourselves from it. Not to make them go away and not for us to, feel at ease from them, but to be able to figure them out more efficiently, more effectively, and probably in a more timely manner than you would have before. Because I think about this and how it relates to funneling and weeding out your inner circle. It's the same thing with weeding out your problems, weeding out your anxieties. Just like when you're picking out people, you want them in the toughest of times to be able to be someone you can rely on. Well, when you're picking out these things to work on, you want to be able to have the things that you're solving to be a big payoff, or to be a payoff in general, just not something you're solving for somebody else. That's allotted energy that isn't going to you. And that's okay. It's always okay to help people. We always preach, help others. Check in on your happy friends. Check in on those you haven't heard from a while. We always talk about that. But right now we're talking about how much energy you're dispersing to other meaningless, arbitrary tasks and anxieties because it's all up here. When you're funneling out those people that no longer are serving a purpose or serving, I don't want to say serving a purpose because they always serve a purpose. But what I'm saying is serving a positive purpose in your life anymore. You slowly and respectfully detach yourself from it, or quickly. Same thing with this. Picking things out, deciding, what am I going to fix first? Well, take a look at it. What do you want to? What lights up and glows in that glass cabinet the most? What is it? It's going to look different for everybody. Perfect. Now that we got all of that taken care of, let's talk about not what we've been doing, what's been going on, but where are we going? What are we looking forward to next? I keep repeating myself about all the steps we're taking to better our lives, new normals, detaching from time, detaching from anxieties. That's all good, great, grand, and wonderful, but that isn't giving us the direction. That's more of a work on me now kind of thing. I want to take a step back and look at the big picture. What are you looking for? What's the direction you're trying to pat? We have to think about that consciously. We have to pat ourselves on the back with every step forward we take. If you woke up in the morning and you were able to check one thing off, you were able to apply to one job that was a dream job, that's something you pat yourself on the back for. We don't pat ourselves on the back for results. Results is based off all the hard work put into things. We pat ourselves on the back for the progress and the work we put in. That's what we have to focus on. We're rewarding ourselves for the wrong things. You should reward yourself for failure because you went out there and you tried something. You should reward yourself for falling flat on your face because you got out there and ran. You have to reward yourself for the little things because otherwise you're not going to get up and do it the next time. It's going to be like, oh, that was a failure. I'm not doing that again, because that's how this thing is conditioned. If we fail, we don't want to do it. We have to recondition it. If we fail, we want to come back and we want to do it better. I was on a coaching call and I had a brilliant client of mine say, you know what it is? It's understanding it's chess. It's not checkers. It's being able to not react to things, but prepare for things. It's understanding that it's not the little microisms that go on throughout the day, because that's reactionary stuff. It's about how you prepare and reward yourself for the things you do every day for you, because shit's going to happen around us all the time. It's not our job to react to it. It's not our job to be at the beck and call or plea for mercy from this stuff. It's our job to know that we have created such a strong foundation, a strong structure for ourselves that we can handle anything. We can understand that if something bad happens, something, makes us feel angry, sad, upset, that we're allowed to feel that way. That's our body doing what it's supposed to do. It's reacting. It's up to our brain to understand and let our bodies go through that. Now, I'm certainly not a spiritual teacher. I'm certainly not, a licensed psychologist or therapist. These are all just things that I feel is a strong mindset for me to adapt and for you to at least have a vision into, and you can adapt what you want out of it. The idea of respectfully selfish is everything we're encompassing today. It's everything about looking out for yourself in a respectful manner, not throwing people under the bridge, because in order to help other people and give as much as you're able to give, you have to be able to take care of you first. You have to understand that everyone's going through struggles, but not everyone is working their way through them. Some people are victims, and that's not to bash them. Some people haven't had the exposure to the right kind of help, the right kind of environments to be able to pull themselves out, and they need a hand. Well, it's up to those people who have worked on themselves and are able to, have seen the light and pull themselves out of that mountain to give them a hand. But in order to do that, we have to be able to climb out of that mountain. So remember, when you're taking the time and you're drawing that line in your sand, it's just not for now. It's just not for this moment, this week. It's a constant progression. That line in the sand is going to change. So don't think it's final. You're going to be willing to accept more, or maybe willing to accept less if you're doing it right, as you progress through this journey of self-development, mental clarity, becoming respectfully selfish. Guys, I loved our chat today. It started out almost as if I had this great idea and I went into what the core thing of respectfully selfish is, and it's being about self-development. It's being about yourself. It's being about understanding the directions you want to go, and it's understanding that that line in the sand is going to be forever progressing and forever moving. So guys, I always appreciate you guys swinging by, having a nice little chat with me. And until next time, I'll catch you later. Peace.